Israel denies ceasefire and the opening of border crossing to Gaza. Researchers deciphered ancient scroll buried in the ashes of Mount Vesuvius with the help of artificial intelligence. US, Israel and Egypt agrees to ceasefire in southern Gaza. For the first time, artificial intelligence completely automated the process of detecting a supernova with no human intervention. The fast radio burst. US imposed sanctions on 3 China-based companies for supplying missile-applicable items and technology to Pakistan. First trucks carrying humanitarian aid entered Gaza from Egypt border since Israel-Hamas war. Leaders from more than a dozen countries meet in Cairo for peace summit to de-escalate Israel-Hamas war. Riyadh summit strengthened ties between Gulf Cooperation Council and ASEAN. European Union issues notice to Meta and TikTok under European Union's Digital Service Act. Israeli Forces spokesperson Daniel Hagari has issued a declaration emphasizing that there is no ceasefire in place, border crossing remain closed, and conflict with Hamas persists. Hamas stands accused of obstructing the movement of Gaza residents towards southern Gaza Strip, a move widely condemned for its alleged inhumanity. More than 4,000 people have died in the conflict as it enters its 9th day. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees has said over 1 million people have been displaced. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has returned to Israel following his visit to 6 Arab countries. Blinken is scheduled to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and their president. In another move, Russia asked United Nations Security Council to vote on Monday on a draft resolution on Israeli-Hamas conflict. It calls for a humanitarian ceasefire and condemns violence against civilians and all acts of terrorism. Researchers deciphered ancient scroll buried in the ashes of Mount Vesuvius with the help of artificial intelligence. It is an active volcano that rises above the Bay of Naples on the plain of Campania in southern Italy. It is the only active volcano in mainland Europe. The volcano is classified as a complex stratovolcano because its eruption typically involve explosive eruption as well as pyroclastic flows. A pyroclastic flow is a high-density mix of hot lava blocks, pumice, ash, and volcanic gas. It is most famous for the 79 AD eruption that destroyed Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum. It is a part of Campanian volcanic arc, a line of volcanoes that formed over a subduction zone created by the convergence of African and Eurasian plates. This subduction zone stretches the length of Italian peninsula and is also the source of other volcanoes like Mount Etna, Vulcano, and Stromboli. Under Vesuvius, the lower part of subducting slab has torn and detached from the upper part to form what is called a slab window. This makes Vesuvian rocks slightly different chemically from the rocks that erupted from the other Campanian volcanoes. US, Israel, and Egypt have agreed to a ceasefire in southern Gaza. It coincides with the reopening of Rafah crossing on the border with Egypt. Palestinians with dual nationality and foreign nationals trapped in Gaza will be allowed to leave through Rafah. This is the only safe passage out of the region right now. Many Palestinian Americans have already gathered close to the crossing after US government advised its citizens to move south and to be ready for when it opens. NGOs like Action Aid have also called for crossing to be open for much needed humanitarian assistance to come through to Gaza. More than 1 million people have fled their homes in Gaza Strip ahead of an expected Israel invasion that seeks to eliminate Hamas. For the first time, artificial intelligence completely automated the process of detecting a supernova with no human intervention. It is a machine learning algorithm which has been trained by using over 1.4 million images from nearly 16,000 sources. It detected the newly discovered supernova named SN 2023 TYK in data from CTF. It automatically requested the potential supernova spectrum from Palomar Observatory, where another robotic telescope, the Spectral Energy Distribution Machine, performed an in-depth observation to obtain source spectrum. This new system not only allows automation of the entire search for new supernovas across night sky but also eliminates human error and dramatically increases the speed. It searched, detected, confirmed, classified, and announced the finding without any human intervention. Artificial intelligence refers to the simulation or approximation of human intelligence in machines. AI is being used today across different industries from finance to healthcare. According to the recent study by astronomers from the University of Tokyo, bolsters support for a starquake, which source for these colossal outbursts of fast radio burst. A fast radio burst is a bright and brief burst of electromagnetic radiation seen in radio wave frequencies. They usually last for very short period of time. Some FRBs repeat, but the vast majority happen once and disappear forever. They reach Earth from faraway galaxies, emitting as much energy in a millisecond as the Sun does over weeks. Scientists do not know for sure what causes fast radio bursts. However, the current prevailing theory is that at least some FRBs are emitted by neutron stars. These stars form when a supergiant star collapses, going from 8 times the mass of our Sun to a super dense core only 20 to 40 kilometers across. Magnetars are neutron stars with extremely strong magnetic fields, and these have been observed to emit FRBs. Previous studies have noted broad similarities between the energy distribution of repeat FRBs and that of earthquakes and solar flares. However, new research at the University of Tokyo has looked at the time and energy of FRBs and found distinct differences between FRBs and solar flares, but several notable similarities between FRBs and earthquakes. October 16, 1793, Queen Marie Antoinette was beheaded during the Reign of Terror following the French Revolution. She was the wife of King Louis XIV and had become the symbol of people's hatred for the old regime due to her extravaganza and frivolity. According to legend, she responded, "Let them eat cake," when told poor people had no bread. October 19, 1987, Black Monday occurred on Wall Street as stocks plunged a record 508 points or 22.6%, the largest one-day drop in stock market history. October 21, 1879, Thomas Edison successfully tested an electric incandescent lamp with a carbonized filament at his laboratory in Menlo Park, New Jersey, keeping it lit for over 13 hours. US has imposed sanctions on 3 China-based companies for supplying missile-applicable items and technology for Pakistan's ballistic missile program, the US State Department said. The US State Department has said that the sanctions were being imposed as part of the global non proliferation regime. China has been the main supplier of arms and defense equipment to Pakistan's military modernization program. The three companies sanctioned are General Technology Limited, Beijing Lulu Technology Development Company Limited, and Changsho Ute Composite Company Limited. The sanctions come days after Pakistan conducted the launch of Ababil ballistic missile system. The first trucks carrying aid have entered Gaza for the first time since Israel-Hamas war erupted. The trucks crossed the Rafah crossing and entered the border from Egypt into Gaza. The Rafah crossing was damaged during the conflict. This delayed the humanitarian relief aid needed in Gaza. The World Health Organization says it is working with Egypt and Palestine Red Crescent Society to ensure medical supplies reach hospitals in Gaza. One of the trucks is loaded with coffins, others were carrying medicines and other relief material. A UN agency said the aid convoy entering through Rafah border crossing is a drop in the ocean of the amount required in Gaza. Israel has agreed to allow around 20 trucks carrying food, water, and medicine into Gaza through the southern crossing from Egypt, while the UN says at least 100 are required to deliver the immediate assistance. Earlier, Hamas released its first hostages since its major surprise attack on Israel 2 weeks ago. Leaders and top officials from more than a dozen countries have gathered in the Egyptian capital Cairo for a conference summit for peace to discuss ways to de-escalate the Israel-Hamas war amid growing fears of a wider West Asia conflict. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in his opening remarks invited leaders to come to an agreement for a roadmap to end the humanitarian disaster in the Gaza Strip and revive a path to peace between Israel and Palestinians. He said the roadmap's goals included the delivery of aid to Gaza and agreeing to a ceasefire, followed by negotiations leading to a two-state solution. Palestinian president used his opening remarks to say that Palestinians will not be forced off their land. The absence of any official from the Israeli side dampened the expectation for what the summit could achieve. The meeting also included officials from Jordan, Qatar, Italy, Spain, the EU, and UK. But key notable absentees include Israel, the US, and Iran. The leaders of Gulf Cooperation Council countries and the Association of Southeast Asian States gathered in Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, on Friday, under the leadership of Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince, in response to an invitation extended by King of Saudi Arabia. The joint statement issued during this historic event reaffirms the commitment of both regions to deepen their cooperation. All GCC countries have agreed to join the Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation with ASEAN, signifying their dedication to strengthening ties and exploring various avenues of collaboration. Key highlights from the summit include a commitment to peace, security, and prosperity through respect for international law and the principles of good neighborhood. The leaders emphasized their joint efforts to achieve a peaceful resolution of disputes, refraining from using or threatening force. Specific areas of cooperation were discussed, including maritime communication, sustainable development goals, economics, and other potential areas of collaboration. The importance of maintaining peace, stability, and safety in the seas was highlighted, with a focus on freedom of navigation, lawful uses of the seas, and peaceful resolution of disputes in accordance with international law. European Commission issues a notice for information to Meta and TikTok under the European Union's Digital Service Act. The Commission sought more details from Meta regarding the steps it has taken to comply with obligations related to risk assessments and mitigation measures to safeguard the integrity of elections. European Commission has also asked them to share the measures they have taken with regard to the dissemination and amplification of illegal content and disinformation following the terrorist attack across Israel by Hamas. The Commission is asking TikTok for more details regarding the steps it has taken to adhere to its obligations related to risk assessments and mitigation measures against the spread of illegal content, particularly the spread of terroristic, violent, and hateful content, as well as the alleged spread of disinformation. Additionally, the request addresses TikTok's compliance to other DSA regulations, particularly those pertaining to the online safety of minors. Meta and TikTok must provide the Commission with the requested information by 25th October 2023 for enquiries on crisis response and by 8th November 2023 for enquiries about preserving the election integrity and minors online. Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche was a German philosopher. He began his career as a classical philologist before turning to philosophy. He became the youngest person to hold the chair of classical philology at the University of Basel in 1869 at the age of 24, but resigned in 1879 due to health problems that plagued him most of his life. He completed most of his co-writing in the following decade. In 1889, at the age 44, he suffered a collapse and afterward a complete loss of his mental faculties with paralysis and probably vascular dementia. He lived his remaining years in the care of his mother until her death in 1897 and then with his sister. Nietzsche died in 1900 after experiencing pneumonia and multiple strokes. Nietzsche's thought enjoyed renewed popularity in 1960s and his ideas have since had a profound impact on 20th and early 21st century thinkers across philosophy, especially in schools of continental philosophy such as existentialism, postmodernism, post-structuralism, as well as art, literature, poetry, politics, and popular culture.